So if you guys, if any of you today who are here have any issues with the body, some shoulder issues, lower back issues, joints, hips, knees, ankles, you can maybe pop it here on the bottom on the chat so I can see, and then try to keep that in mind. And also, if any of you who has already done Pilates and wants one specific exercise, you can pop that also on the bottom here so I can definitely include that exercise in the list. Okay, so right now I don't see any comments. So if I see during the comments during the class, I shall be looking at it. So without further ado, let's start with the class. So making sure that the mat is visible in the screen so you can see me well. Yes, okay. Okay, so this is, it's okay, very good. Okay, so what I would like you to do at the moment is stand in front of the mat so that there is enough room behind you. So stand in front of the mat with the feet shoulder width apart, with the toes and heels aligned, and then picture invisible cord going through your body. So from the top of the head, picture somebody pulling you up towards the ceiling from that invisible cord, and then check your posture. So make sure your neck is nice and long, your shoulders are pulled backwards, downwards, and away from ears. Then check if your pelvis is in a nice flat position, so you can move it back and forward slightly, and then find where is that flat position, so the hip joint is not tilting forward nor back. And then engage the core, the powerhouse. You'll be hearing this word throughout the class a lot. Picture bottom of the rib cage closing, and then bring your arms to your sides. And let's start first with nice warm up roll down. Inhale, bring arms over your head with the palms facing forward. With exhale, go for a head nod and then start rolling down towards the floor, keeping your spine curved throughout. And then see if you can bring palms to the floor. If you need to, you can soften the knees a little. And then inhale, start rolling back up one vertebra at a time until you reach straight, strong arms over your head. With exhale, go for a head nod, cervical curl, and start rolling down until you can bring the palms to the floor more or less. If not, you can soften the knees a little, keep the head aligned with torso, and then inhale, true curved spine, roll back up one vertebra at a time, bringing arms over your head. Let's do two more. Exhale, head nod, cervical curl, roll down towards the floor until the palms touch the floor, or if not palms, maybe fingertips, knees slightly softened. Inhale, true curved spine, rolling back up, reaching arms over your head, palms facing forward. Let's do one more. Exhale, head nod, cervical curl, roll, coming all the way down to the floor, knees softened, and inhale, rolling yourself back up one vertebra at a time until you reach arms overhead. And with the next roll, we're going to go all the way down again. With exhale, rolling down towards the floor. You can soften the knees a little bit more, let the head hang, and then bring the forearms on top of one another. And now think moving from the hip joint side to side. So not the arms or not the head, but from the hip joint, move side to side so we get the spine a little bit more mobile. You can continue on with the lateral thoracic breathing. Inhale through the nose and exhale out through the mouth. Let's do two more. Inhale and exhale. Last one. Inhale and exhale. And return to the center. Still let the head hang heavy and bring palms to the floor. So if you're not able to bring the palms to the floor, you can bend the knees even more and then get palms to the floor. rotate your toes out, then rotate your heels out, and then do one more rotation from your toes out so your knees are bent. You can lengthen the spine here, so your sternum, your chest, almost like lifting up towards the ceiling so your back is nice and straight. And then drop the hips with inhale, and then with exhale, straighten the legs. Inhale, drop the hips with inhale, lifting the chest. Exhale, straighten out the legs or keep them slightly flexed from your knees. Inhale and exhale. If able to straighten the legs all the way. Inhale and exhale. And then drop the hips halfway. Stay in that deep squat hold position. Bring the elbows inside the knees, palms tight together, and stay in this hip opening position. Lift the sternum up towards the ceiling. Think shoulders pulled away from ears. Try to bring the hips down towards the floor. Opening your knees while you're pushing elbows into your knees. Continue on with the lateral thoracic breathing. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. So I'm used to actually see everybody in the class. So this is a really strange setup of the class, but I actually can't see anybody. So I try to, as much as possible, continue explaining with the words so you're able to do the exercises without actually damaging yourself. Okay, so from here, I want you to bring the arms out in front of you and then see if you can sit on the floor without using your palms. So this might be a little bit of a challenge. Hope you made it to the floor. And once sitting on the floor, lie down. Lie down on the floor. And let's find first neutral spine position. So we talk a lot about the neutral, and I try to explain as much for those who actually haven't done Pilates. So think neutral. You have a tiny little gap between the neck and the floor. The head is, again, picture like somebody's like pulling you away from the center line, and then somebody's pulling you away from the hip joint. So the body is lengthening, yeah? And then the head, the eyes are looking directly to the ceiling, so there is no backward nor forward tilt. Then your shoulders, the shoulders should be pulled away from ears, down towards the floor, and you can slightly pinch the shoulder blades together. So not excessive, never any of the position excessive. And then think of your pelvis, so you can move it back and forward, a pelvic tilt back and forward. So I use a lot anterior and posterior tilt. So anterior would be when you're tilting the pelvis forward, posterior when you're tilting the pelvis back. So find the position somewhere in between. And then you can also check with the index and middle finger, the hip bone, so that it's flat on the floor. Once you have that nice neutral, you should also have a tiny little gap between the floor and the lower back. Your feet shoulder width apart, heels more or less below the knees, so not too far out, nor too close to the hips either, but sort of below the knees. And then find firm placement for the feet, so there is no external nor internal tilt from your ankles, and arms to your sides with the palms on the floor. We start first with pelvic curl. So inhale, deep breath through the nose. And with exhale, start with the pelvic tilt. So pressing the lower back to the floor, peel the pubic bone or coccyx off the floor, and then continue on rolling the spine off the floor until you're on your shoulders and shoulder blades. Once upright, I want you to inhale. And then with exhale, rolling back down one vertebra at a time, keeping deep posterior tilt, so you're rounding your full spine. And first lower back goes to the floor, then eventually coccyx. Inhale on the bottom. And exhale, again, rolling off the floor, pressing the lower back to the floor, then continue on rolling until you're in an upright position. Deepen that posterior tilt so you feel the glutes and backs of the legs here. Inhale. And with exhale, rolling back down, rounding your full spine, still that posterior tilt so you can feel how the core is engaged. And the lower back goes one by one to the floor. Inhale on the bottom and exhale. Start again with the curl of the spine, one vertebra at a time, until you eventually are only in your shoulders and shoulder blades. You can picture there's a tennis ball or something between your knees, so you're aiming to keep the knees aligned to one another. Inhale up here and exhale, round your full spine, pelvis tilted deeply back, so the spine goes one vertebra at a time back to the floor. Inhale on the bottom, exhale, rolling one vertebra at a time, coming all the way up until you're in an upright position. Now stay here and picture as if you're pulling the heels towards your glutes, so you feel the backs of the legs more engaged. Inhale up here, then exhale, roll back down one vertebra at a time, rounding your full spine until pelvis is on the floor. And we do one more. Inhale and exhale, round your full spine, one vertebra at a time, until you're all the way up on your shoulder blades, shoulders. And again, deepen that posterior tilt. Feel the backs of the legs, glutes. Feel how you're pulling the heels towards your bum, even though they stay in place. Inhale up here and exhale, start rounding back, deepen the posterior tilt more, really going one vertebra at a time until eventually the pelvis is flat on the floor. Stabilize your hips, find a nice neutral pelvis, bring the arms up and then palms aligned with one another, and then drop the arms to your sides. Now, if you don't have the room here, the other option is to keep the arms in a 90-degree angle. So not straight, but in a 90-degree angle. So if you have room, keep the arms to your sides, straight, strong arms with the palms facing up. And if not, bend your knees or bend your elbows. Now, stabilize your pelvis, float the leg that's closer to me to the tabletop, chair angle, then float the opposite leg up to the tabletop, both legs in a chair angle, and then use your inner thighs to squeeze the legs tight together. Now stabilize your shoulders flat to the floor. Inhale, drop the knees towards me, keeping the shoulders, head all flat on the floor. Then with exhale, return to the center. Inhale, dip to opposite side, and when you're dipping to opposite side, also think your opposite upper body, the arm pulling on opposite direction. Inhale, return to the center. Exhale, sorry. Inhale, dip the knees towards me. Check if the top knee is aligned with the bottom knee, so you don't let the top knee drop back, that the knees are aligned with one another. Exhale, return to the center. Inhale, dip the knees to opposite side. Feel how there is nice lengthening of your abdominals, your obliques. Exhale, return to the center. Inhale, drop the knees towards me. You should also feel how the spine is getting a nice rotation here. Exhale, return to the center. Inhale, dip the knees to opposite side, keeping the shoulders and upper body completely to the floor. Exhale, return to the center. Let's do two more. Inhale, make sure that the knees and feet are pressed tight together. Exhale, return to the center. So inhale, when you're twisting, make sure the knees are connected completely, and exhale, return to the center. Last one. Inhale, so both legs tight together, top knee aligned with the bottom, and exhale, return to the center. Inhale, drop the knees to opposite side, and exhale, return to the center. Once upright, bring the legs one by one back down to the floor, and now float the arms behind the head, interlacing fingers, and float elbows tiny bit off the floor, so they don't stay anymore connected with the floor, but they're just tiny bit off the floor. Check your shoulder girdle, make sure your shoulders are pulled away from ears, shoulder blades slightly pinching. Inhale, deep breath, And exhale, go for a chest lift off the floor, lifting the torso as high up as you're able to. And inhale, return yourself back down to the floor. Exhale, chest lift off the floor as high up as you're able to, keeping core engagement. And inhale, return yourself back down to the floor. Exhale, chest lift off the floor. And inhale, return down to the floor. We're going to slow it down now. Exhale, go for a chest lift off the floor. I want you to keep the height. Inhale up here, and then exhale, drop yourself back down. And inhale bottom. Exhale, go for a chest lift off the floor. So think your torso is doing the job. The pelvis stays in a flat position. Inhale up here, and then exhale, return back down, keeping pelvis flat. Inhale on the bottom. Let's do one more. Exhale, chest lift off the floor, keeping neutral pelvis. Inhale up here, and exhale, return yourself back down. Stay down and inhale. Exhale, chest lift off the floor, and I want you to stay here. Bring the arms behind the thighs and pull yourself slightly further up. So you're still in that neutral pelvis position, but you're aiming to pull yourself slightly further up. So feel how the abdominal wall is getting a little bit deeper work here. Stay up here. Keep the elbows tucked into your torso so you feel also bicep working. Keep shoulders pulled away from ears. And then float the palms back behind the head, interlacing fingers with inhale. Exhale, twist towards me, keeping elbows wide open. And inhale, remain the height, return to the center. Exhale, twist to opposite side. And inhale, return to the center, maintaining the height. Exhale, think the rib cage is doing the moving. And inhale, return to the center. Exhale, from waist down, nothing moves. So the hips and knees stay in a nice neutral position. Inhale, return to the center. Exhale, twist towards me. So only the upper spine is doing the work. And inhale, return to the center. Exhale, twist to opposite side. Then inhale, return to the center, stabilize your hips, exhale, keeping the hips in same place all exercise long. Inhale, return to the center, exhale, keeping the elbows wide open, so drive through the torso rather than the elbows. Inhale, return to the center, exhale, we do one more both sides. Then inhale, return to the center, exhale, twist to opposite side. Then inhale, return to the center. Stay up here, hold again to the backs of the legs, pull yourself slightly further up, still keeping nice flat pelvis, keeping elbows tucked into your torso, deepen the abdominal work, and then nice and gently return to the floor, arms to the sides, keeping nice stable pelvis still. Bring the leg that's closer to me, heel off the floor, but keep the toes still connected with the floor. Inhale up or inhale here, then exhale, bring the leg to the tabletop. Inhale, tap the floor with the toes. Exhale, leg comes to the tabletop. Inhale, tap the floor with the toes. Exhale, so think pelvis movement, hip joint movement. Inhale, return, not the pelvis, but hip joint movement. Exhale, so nothing moves from the knee. And inhale, drop, so only the hip joint is moving. Exhale, last repetition. Then we inhale, tap the floor with the toe, and then bring the heel back down to the floor. Let's do the same on opposite side. Float the heel off the floor with inhale. Exhale, leg comes to the chair angle. Inhale, tap the floor with the toe. Exhale, leg comes to the chair angle. Inhale, tap the floor with the toe. Exhale. Inhale. Think throughout the exercise. Exhale. The hip joint is moving. And inhale. Exhale. Let's do one more here. Inhale. Tap the floor. And now bring that leg up to the tabletop. Inhale, bring also the opposite heel off the floor. And with exhale, switch both legs at the same time. Hold the position with inhale. Exhale, switch the legs at the same time. Hold the position with inhale. So it goes. Exhale, we do 2 more both sides. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And once finished, keep one leg in a chair, bring the opposite leg up. Use the inner thighs to press the feet and knees tight together, making sure you have that actual 90-degree angle in the hip joint and also in the knee joint. What happens if you don't have? So usually we pull the knees too close and then we don't really work with the core. Also, we drop the heels and then it's easier. So those are the two things we usually tend to do. So make sure you have that actual 90-degree angle in the hip joint and also in the knee joint. Another thing that happens, we drop the feet here. So this is also easier. So check, look, do you have the 90-degree angle in the hip joint and also in the knee joint? Now, we go for 100 reps. So with inhale, float the arms over your head to the floor. With exhale, bring arms up, roll the spine off the floor, lower the arms parallel to the floor. Inhale, return yourself back down. Exhale, arms come up, roll the spine, one vertebra at a time, arms parallel to the floor. Inhale, return yourself back down. Exhale. Rolling upper body off the floor, lower the arms, and inhale, return. Maintain the chair angle throughout the exercise. Exhale. And inhale. We have 2 more repetitions here. Exhale. And inhale. And the very last one, exhale. And inhale. And then bring the arms back upright and then bring them out to your sides. And again, if you don't have room, make that tabletop position or a 90-degree angle from the elbow joint, palms facing up to the ceiling. If you have room, arms out, literally on your sides, palms aligned with shoulders, and then bring the legs one by one back down to the floor. So I want you to straighten out the leg that's further away from me and making sure that I have enough room here. Okay, so making sure that the shoulder girdle, pelvis are in a nice flat position and the leg that's on the floor, toes pointed. Float the bent leg off the floor to the tabletop. Now, if you have tight hamstrings or possibly weak hip flexors or tight hip flexors, this is the position I want you to stay in. But if you are particularly flexible, you can straighten this leg out, but only if that's a possibility. So make sure that the hip and the knee are in one line always. So if you drop the leg here, that's not a starting position. So make sure the knee are one line. You also can maybe keep the knee a little bit bent and try to do the exercise in this position. And then flex your foot so the toes are pulled towards you. And now with inhale, I circle this leg across the torso and I come up sideways. Exhale, I go in opposite or next or same direction, next circle. Inhale, circle again across the body, come up on sideways. Exhale. Let's speed up a little. Inhale, make sure your pelvis stays flat on the floor. So exhale, when you're circling, there's no movement from your pelvis. Inhale, we do 2 more repetitions here. Exhale, last repetition. Let's change the circle. Inhale, opposite direction. And exhale. Inhale, keeping the pelvis flat on the floor. Exhale. Inhale, you have 4 more repetitions left. And exhale. Inhale, last 2 repetitions. Exhale. Point the toes, bend the leg, and bring this leg back down to the floor, and straighten the leg out on the floor. Slide opposite leg up on the floor, and bring the leg upright. So I'm going to do first few repetitions with the bent leg in case for those who need to see how it looks with the bent leg. And flex the foot again here. And we go across the body first. Inhale, circle 1. Exhale, circle 2. Inhale, keep the pelvis on the floor. And exhale, circle 4. Inhale, circle 5. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Reverse the circle. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Opposite leg pressed flat to the floor. Exhale. Inhale. Last 2 repetitions. Exhale. Point the toes, flex the leg, and bring this leg back down to the floor. Slide also opposite leg up on the floor. Bring the arms all the way back up. If you have straight arms, then straight up, and then float them back down to the floor. So again, I need to make myself a little bit more room because today the space is quite tight. And then straighten the legs out and make sure that the feet are tight together. So using your inner thighs, press the feet and knees tight together. And then check if you have nice neutral position throughout the exercise. So flat pelvis, flat shoulder girdle, engage the core, and then float the palms towards one another. With inhale, or bring the arms over your head first. Think the shoulders away from ears. And now with inhale, bring the arms up in a 90-degree angle, and then lower the spine with, roll the upper spine off the floor and lower the arms with exhale. I want you to stay here in this position with inhale. And with exhale, return the upper body back down, palms still facing one another. Inhale, bring the arms up. Roll the spine a little bit off the floor. Stay up here. Exhale, deepen the posterior tilt, bringing the hips down towards the floor. Inhale up here. And with exhale, roll yourself back down, one vertebra at a time. Let's do one more like this. Inhale. And rolling upper spine off the floor. Deepen the posterior tilt, bringing the pelvis, the lower back to the floor. Exhale here. Inhale. And with exhale, return back down to the floor. Now, if you're not able to do the roll up, I want you to continue on with the same exact variation that you did. And those are able to, let's see if we can. So with inhale, arms come up, roll the spine off the floor, and now deepen the posterior tilt. Press the lower back to the floor. With exhale, peel your spine off the floor and come in an upright position where you have this curved spine position throughout the exercise. Inhale up here. And with exhale, start rolling back down, deepening the posterior tilt. So bringing the hips backwards and until you're bringing the back to the floor. And arms go overhead. Inhale, arms come up, roll. In this position, press the lower back to the floor. And with exhale, peel your spine off the floor, one vertebra at a time. Bring the arms parallel to the floor and keep that nice C-curve position throughout the exercise. Inhale up here, then exhale, roll back down. Keep arms parallel to the floor and keep the legs pressed firmly to the floor. One more, inhale. Roll, deepen the posterior tilt, press the lower back to the floor. With exhale, peel your spine off the floor, coming in an upright position, keep the curved spine. Inhale up here, and exhale, start rolling down, but I'm gonna slow it down. So let's go only halfway down and stay here. Arms stay parallel to the floor, deepen the posterior tilt, so top of the pelvis, tilt more backwards, lower your spine a little bit more. Keep tilting the pelvis backwards and slowly bringing the spine back down to the floor, arms overhead. With next roll up, we transition to the next exercise. Inhale, bring the arms up, roll the spine, lower the arms to the floor, press lower back to the floor. Exhale, peel the spine off the floor, come in an upright position, and then come out of this position and find yourself something to take under your hips. If your flexibility is good, you can stay on the floor. But if you find the backs of the legs, the hamstrings, quite tight, you need something under the hips. So pillow is not the best option unless it's a thick pillow. But if you have, take a towel, or maybe you have yoga blocks, and then sit on top of something. So this exercise is a little bit easier for you. Now, separate your feet and bring the feet more or less shoulder width apart. Towards flex them so the toes are pulled towards you. Another thing that I like to say here is to pull the hip cheeks off the floor. So you can put the palm under and pull the hip cheeks up so you can really lengthen the spine. So your spine is nice and tall. Picture somebody pulling you up towards the ceiling throughout the exercise. So your spine is straight. The shoulders should be above the hips. So what happens usually, we end up curving the spine here, and also we end up keeping the straight back, but we are in an inclined position. So this is one option. If you still find that it's really, really difficult to sit upright straight, you can bend the knees a little bit here as well. So it takes the pressure off the back, and you're usually able to engage the core and back extensions a little bit more to go contract, engage, and lift yourself up towards the ceiling. Okay, bring the arms out in front of you, palms facing one another, palms aligned with the shoulders, shoulders pulled away from ears. Engage your powerhouse. Inhale, deep breath through the nose. With exhale, start with the roll of the spine, one vertebra at a time, and then hinge forward from your hips as far forward as you're able to, bringing the arms in between the legs. Stay up here or down here with inhale, and then exhale, roll yourself out of this position, one vertebra at a time, until you're lengthening the spine all the way. Now picture there is a wall behind you. Inhale, deep breath through the nose. Exhale, start rolling down, but one vertebra at a time. So the back feels like it's as if against the wall throughout the exercise, and eventually tilt the hips, the pelvis forward, so you can hinge forward. Inhale on the bottom, and with exhale, tilt the pelvis back first, and then start peeling your spine one vertebra at a time until eventually you're bringing the torso completely against that imaginary wall. Inhale, also picture there is a big bowl or something in front of you. Exhale, start rolling down, and then it's as if you're trying to go over that big bowl as far forward as you can, so the core is engaged here. Inhale, send the breath out laterally so that your lungs on the back are expanding. Inhale down here, then exhale, tilt the pelvis back first, and then peel the spine one vertebra at a time, upright until the back is against that imaginary wall. Let's do 3 more. Inhale. Exhale, start rolling. Picture that ball, rolling over that ball, keeping the core engaged, hinging forward from your hips. Inhale, keep shoulders away from ears. Exhale, tilt the pelvis back first, and then rolling one vertebra at a time, coming upright, spine completely straight. Inhale, exhale, and hinging forward, keeping shoulders pulled away from ears all the time. Inhale and exhale, hinge your pelvis back, and then one vertebra at a time, roll back up, eventually aligning the spine. Inhale and exhale, roll, and then eventually hinge forward from the hips, bringing the arms in between the legs. Inhale on the bottom, and exhale, roll one vertebra at a time until you're in an upright position, lengthening the spine. Drop the arms. Take this something that you had under your hips, leave it aside, and then make your way to the floor on your side, facing towards me. Straighten the bottom arm up towards the ceiling, so the palm is opening up towards the ceiling, and make sure this arm is aligned with the torso. Then look down, are the legs aligned with one another? Use the inner thighs to press the feet and knees tight together. Let the head rest on the arm, other arm or palm in front of you on the floor for balance. And now check your hips. They should be in a perpendicular angle. It means you're not tilting the pelvis backwards nor forward, that one hip joint is on top of the other. And then use the core engagement, use the powerhouse. Use inner thighs to squeeze the legs tight together. Inhale, float the legs off the floor so they're close to the floor but not touching. Then with exhale, tilt the pelvis against the floor so the side is completely flat on the floor. There is no cap, bringing the legs all the way up. Then inhale, drop, and you again make that little gap between the floor and the side. Exhale, lift the legs, tilting the pelvis completely to the floor so there is no cap. Then inhale, bring the pelvis back to the neutral, lowering the legs. Exhale, bring the legs up, getting that gap nice and tight together. Inhale, drop the legs without touching. Exhale, pelvis tilting to the floor, legs come up. Inhale, return the legs parallel. Nice little gap between the side and the floor. Exhale, keep the legs pressed tight together. Then inhale, drop the legs. Let's do one more. Exhale, lift, keeping the legs pulled tight together. Then inhale, drop the legs. Keep the legs off the floor and come up on the elbow. Then swing the legs forward, keeping the legs tight together, bringing the arms to your sides. Lift the sternum up towards the ceiling so your back is nice and straight, core engaged, and then swing the legs on opposite sides. Can't really swing very well because the mat is very slippy today. And then make sure again the arm is aligned with the torso, with the palm facing up towards the ceiling, legs on top of one another and aligned with the torso, head resting on the arm, one arm in front of you for the balance. Use inner thighs, squeeze the legs together and float them off the floor with inhale. Exhale, tilt the pelvis to the floor. No gap between the core and the floor. Inhale, drop without touching the floor. Exhale, lift the legs up, keeping the legs tight together. Inhale, drop them back down. Exhale, make sure the hips are still in a perpendicular angle. Inhale, drop the legs without touching the floor. Exhale, you need to feel both, so the core working and lower back working. Inhale, return. So if you feel on lower back, go slight more posterior tilt here. Then exhale, lift the legs, keeping the legs tight together. Inhale, drop without touching the floor. Keep the legs off the floor and then float yourself on your stomach. And bring the arms beside your torso, palms pressed against the thighs. And then think again that slight posterior tilt, so tilting the pelvis slightly backwards, so you feel that there's a little space between the core and the floor when you're engaging your core. Even if you don't have the space, you need to feel that there is a space. So bias to posterior, engaging core, palms against the thighs. Inhale. Prepare yourself and exhale, float the torso a little bit off the floor, looking down towards the floor. Inhale, extend the upper body as high up as you're able to, then exhale, drop the upper body. Inhale, extend the upper body as high as you're able to. Exhale, drop without touching the floor. Inhale, feel how the core is working and your back extensions are working. Exhale, drop. Let's do 3 more. Inhale, extend the upper body off the floor. Keep the head aligned with the torso. Exhale, drop without touching. Inhale, we do 2 more repetitions. Think shoulder blades pull towards one another. Exhale, return. Inhale. Lift the upper body off the floor. Stay up here. Press the feet and knees tight together. Think of that slight posterior tilt, core engagement. Your back extensions working, shoulder blades pull towards one another. And exhale, return back down to the floor. Bring the forearms beside the torso. Shoulders pulled away from ears. Then press your elbows, your forearms to the floor. And sit back into the child's position, feet, knees tight together, palms aligned with the shoulders, shoulder joints rotated outwards. Keep the head aligned with the torso so it doesn't drop down towards the floor, nor does it stay upright, so that the spine has a natural flexion and the head just follows that natural flexion. Breathe. And then come to the center of the mat with the feet and knees tight together. If your knees are causing you issues, you can take that something that you had under your hips earlier, place it in between the feet and the palm, and then sit on top of that. Or possibly you can stay up on your knees, so it takes the load off the knees. So choose the position. Again, think that invisible cord, somebody pulling you up towards the ceiling from that invisible cord, long neck, shoulders back, nice flat pelvis, core engagement, palms on your sides, facing forward. Inhale, reach arms overhead. Pull the palms as high up to the ceiling as you can, palms facing one another. And at the same time, pull the shoulders down towards the floor, backwards, shoulder blades slightly pinching. And exhale, drop the arms, palms facing forward. Let's do one more. Inhale, reach arms overhead, palms facing one another. Pull them up towards the ceiling, shoulders down towards the floor. Think that slight posterior tilt again so you can engage the core better. And with exhale, bring the palms to the chest. And then thank you very much for the class.